everybody, my name is Cybermanalf, and in today's video I'm going to be reviewing Orphan 55, the third episode of Series 12. So, this episode has definitely been very decisive in the Doctor Who community, some people really liking it, some people not liking it at all. And I thought this was a good episode. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it was the best episode of all time, it wasn't, there were a few issues. But it was just a good episode. And I know a lot of people now are going to be going, well, Spyfall was good, but this was terrible, Doctor Who's blah blah blah, Doctor Who's rubbish again, they're not going to watch it. I think every episode does have sort of like a not so good episode in it. And I didn't even think this episode was bad. Actually, I really enjoyed a lot of this episode. So, those are my controversial thoughts, just like there in the first minute or so. But, yeah, this episode was good, in my opinion. There were definitely some unnecessary elements in it, and I will be addressing those. But first, let's start off by being positive and saying what I did like about this episode. So, overall, I just thought the story was very classic Doctor Who. I think it really worked in the context of this story. I really enjoyed the classic feel of it, and that's probably why I quite like this episode. It's very classic Doctor Who feeling. You've got a base under siege, which then turns into a sort of like saving someone. Just one person who probably would have died the next day anyway. The thing I like about this episode, more than anything else, is the fact that the 13th Doctor demands they go and save the one person. It's not a whole civilization. It's not like the most important person in the world. This person was really old on an oxygen tank and would have probably died within the next week. But the 13th Doctor just decides to go and save him. And I really like that as a concept for an episode. So, another thing I really liked about this episode is basically in the beginning scene, one of the companions mentions about the Doctor being in a mood, and she says really grumpily, "I'm not in a mood," which is really adding to her character development, because she's no longer all smiles, happy all the time now. Even the companions are starting to see that there's something wrong, so I'm guessing they get around to asking what that is later in the series. And another thing I liked the Dregs. I thought the Dregs were good villains for this episode, and I really liked the design of them. I think they were scary at the start, and I think their best scene was probably the one at the beginning where they come into the Tranquility Spa and basically just kill almost everyone. I think in this episode everyone dies except Nevi and Silas, so they definitely had a great sense of threat around them. And I think they were quite terrifying, and the 13th Doctor worked well with them, and I thought they were effective as villains, and their design was really cool. What else did I like about this episode? Ryan was good. I think, yeah, he wasn't perfect in this episode. There are definitely some things that could be better about his character, but he was a good character in this episode. I really liked just the sense of urgency throughout the whole thing. It didn't really slow down at any point, and as I said, it's a really classic feeling Doctor Who episode. And I just enjoyed them just running around, solving things, looking for drugs, saving the person. I thought all that stuff was really, really well handled. And there was a lot of stuff in this I liked. And there was one big reveal in this, which I personally did not mind, which was the fact that this orphan planet was Earth, after the effects of climate change had taken place, and the dregs were actually humans. Now, I think that concept worked well in the story. It didn't work perfectly, especially the bit at the end, but it was a good concept, and I have a feeling that if this had been like a David Tennant episode or a Matt Smith episode, or even the Peter Capaldi episode, no one would mind. I think it's just because it's a Jodie Whittaker era episode and it seems to be a relevant topic these days. Everyone just takes it as a chance to complain, almost. Because if you stuck this in any other era of the show, I think it would just be well received, really. But I don't think it in itself was a bad reveal. I think it worked in the context of the story. It was just as soon as they said that, I literally thought in my head, the internet is going to hate this, and it's very much divided people. It wasn't a bad reveal. As I said, I think it worked in the story. It's just, it kind of went slightly too far at the end when the 13th Doctor said to be the best of humanity, save the world, blah blah blah. I think it would have been better if they hadn't explicitly said it was climate change. The 13th Doctor had gone into, like, the Dreg's head and seen what had happened. And then they find out it's Earth and they're mutated humans, but they never explicitly say it's down to climate change. So then there will still be people going, it's down to climate change, and if they didn't like that, how it worked in the story, then they would still have a point to complain about with this story. But it also leaves a room open for it not to be like topical issues, Doctor Who being political, trying to be topical, and just be a story, a Doctor Who sci-fi story. I have to say though, something I did like about that reveal was the fact that it was a potential future. And really interesting, because if they had more potential futures, they could end up on a planet where an alien invasion's happened, like the Daleks invade or something, and they destroy the planet. But then the finale could be stopping the Daleks, but you know that they might not actually stop the Daleks because they've seen that future. So I think having it as a potential future could work, but in a different story. I think it worked alright in this story. That sort of leads me on to my main sort of downside with this story, is the fact that there are a lot of good ideas in this, but not much really happened, and the ideas felt slightly out of place, and some of them were a bit too explicit, and they shouldn't have been in the same story, and a lot of things should be left up to your imagination. So ideas that it just, sometimes I just felt like nothing was happening. They ran around a bit, and I really like that classic feeling Doctor Who, but also, unfortunately, like a lot of classic Doctor Who episodes, not a lot happened. They just ran around for a bit and found Benny, and that was really about it. And then she just says, oh, I killed Benny. Oh, suddenly she's someone's mum. I don't feel like the ideas in this story should be together in the same episode. I think they worked individually, but I feel like they would have been well suited to their own separate episodes, especially the potential future thing I could think could work in another episode. And the climate change thing should have been a bit less explicit. I think the Dregs were a cool idea, having them be like mutated humanity. And I think, again, they worked well in this story, and they could work even better if it was in a different story. Just fell off my chair. And that's my main issue with this, is there's a lot of ideas in here that do work well in this story, but they could work a lot better if they were in different stories, and I think that's my one criticism, apart from nothing much happened, and ideas could work but didn't in this story, and could work well in other stories. And that's all I really have to say about this story. So I didn't think it was bad, I thought it was good, I really enjoyed it. And originally I was going to give this a 7.5, maybe an 8, but at current time I'm going to give this story a 7 out of 10 for, I think, good performances from the Doctor and the companions. I love the Dreg because they work really well. I think the climate change twist was good, could have been executed slightly better, and there was a lot of sort of times when nothing happened, but the dregs and the threat was entertaining enough to keep me going through the story and to make it memorable for me. And that was my review for Orphan 55. Now, usually I say here, like, subscribe, leave your comments down in the comment section below, but like this time I sort of have something. I know this video is going to be quite controversial because it's not that popular of a story and not a lot of people liked it very much, but I just thought it was a good story. So if you didn't like it, then I would like you to leave a comment in the comment section below to try and make me understand why you didn't like it, apart from obviously climate change, Doctor Who's being political. But yeah, I really want to hear people's opinions, because I want to hear people's opinions of why they liked it, and they can say stuff they like in the comment section below. But also people who don't like it, I just want to know what could have been better for you. And yeah, because I really like hearing people's different opinions on it. So yeah, I really want to hear people who didn't like it, what could have been better for you and what could have been improved, but in a respectful way, not change Jodie Whittaker, get rid of Chibnall, blah blah blah. Just I really like hearing people's different opinions. I've been Cybermanalf. This has been my review for Orphan 55, but for me for now, it's goodbye.